This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at Track Farms and their excellent CBD products. As you may be able to tell from this episode, I have started to get back to jiu-jitsu. I was out for a minute because of the storm, and now I'm back into it. And I can tell you one thing, I hurt. It hurts bad when giant people crush you into the ground. So even if you are not doing things like jiu-jitsu, I can tell you that I have experienced amazing effects from CBD. My body's less sore. I can tell the inflammation's going down. It makes a big difference to me, and I take it every single day. So go get yourself some CBD. I really like the tinctures for things like, body soreness. I've talked about it for driving before, but also for jiu-jitsu. It's a big game changer. So go check them out at track-farms.com. Enter the code STRANGERS for 15% off your order. That's STRANGERS for 15% and get you some CBD. Randy Villarreal, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. We are in Burleson, Texas, for everybody watching or listening, which is a small, it's kind of a suburb of Fort Worth, right?
Suburb.
Just south of Fort Worth, and I've been training here this week, and it's been great, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, definitely.
We're doing a lot of no-gi.
It's my preference.
Yeah, and for anybody who's watching, you might notice that there are, in fact, some old gis on the floor protecting the mats from us sitting here.
Yeah, it's no disrespect to the gi people out there. Just trying to keep our mats safe.
Yeah, no. I completely get it. But also, there's a good irony there too.
Yeah, well. Gis beneath us.
Yeah. Oh God, you just said it. You said it, and you looked right in the camera. Now people are gonna know that forever. That's how you feel. Well, hey, I was telling you, like, last night was kind of great because you guys do gi a couple times a week, and so I finally had a night off, and I got to like nurse my sore body and bruises and all that good stuff. Man, it's weird. Like taking small breaks off. I feel like that's a really hard part of this that I wasn't anticipating. We were just in New Mexico, and I had been training every day out in Tucson. Everybody who listens to the podcast knows that because I talked way too much about it. But then we were in New Mexico. The storm hit, first of all, so I was not about to start going anywhere. Like it was a blizzard out. And then even when I tried to call up schools in Albuquerque, they were all like, no, New Mexico state law says we have to be at like 10% capacity. So not only can you not train here, like it's just members only.
Yeah.
And even some of the members like don't even get to show up. So that's pretty rough what they have kind of going on. Luckily, that's not the case out in Texas, and I'm able to come and train, which is, for me, is great, But you've got a lot you're training for. You've got Combat Jiu Jitsu Worlds coming up, right?
March 21st in Cancun. Super excited for this.
I think this episode will be out before you go do it, so that's
Perfect.
Good. And you've even got the shirt on today. You're repping. What's the training been like kind of up to this point? Like, what have you been getting up to?
It's been, how can I say it? So I feel more prepared this time with my training. Like last time, I definitely felt I trained more harder than I should have, smarter. So this time I'm trying to change that. Just 2 days, basically mornings, working out on my own, whether strength conditioning, sprints, stuff at the house. Then night times where I'll get my jiu-jitsu in. But lately it's been a lot of combat rounds.
Right.
You can see my eyes.
Yeah, I noticed you posted on Instagram. You got what happened? Took a shot.
To be honest, I don't know. I was doing a Shark Tank yesterday. 4 of my teammates going in on me, and I just got out of it, and I felt my eye, and it was busted up.
What's Shark Tank?
So Shark Tank is to where, for example, my matches are going to be 10 minutes long. So I had 4 different teammates. Every 2.5 minutes, they just jump in on me.
Oh, so you got fresh people.
Yeah, exactly.
Constantly.
Yeah.
But it's just a time thing. It's not like you are trying to sub them in that 2.5 minutes.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely trying to.
Well,
sub
you're trying, but like, do you get to that point every time? Like, is that
not every time?
Okay.
It honestly, it just gets more just mental. You're in there, somebody fresh. You're getting tired. They're not tired.
Yeah. Are your training partners like some of the brown belts here at Genesis?
So I'm fortunate enough. So I run this gym, Genesis Burleson. Then we have what we call our headquarters in River Oaks. It's on the other side of Fort Worth. That's where I'll get like my instructors there. Then I'll train with my teammates over there. So I basically just go in between both the gyms here.
Nice, that's cool. So it's a lot of. I guess it's always fascinating me for sure, like how you prepare for a competition of that sort of scale, because it's a lot of the conditioning side of things, making sure you're just in shape. But then there's also a big piece of it that is that you have to keep the jiu-jitsu going too.
Yeah.
But you also you don't want to hit that so hard that you can't even work your conditioning.
Yeah, exactly. You got to find that balance, just like everything.
Man, that sounds rough. And then, and then not only that, but you've got a family, you've got a business to run, you got to be, trying to eat right constantly. That's intense, man.
So for me though, like it all blends together. Like my whole family trains. My wife started training when we got together. Our 3 kids train. She helps me teach classes here at the gym. Helps me run the gym. She makes my meals for me. So she definitely takes a lot of load off of me.
Yeah, man, that's a fantastic partnership. I always feel like when you've got a couple like owning a gym together, it just flows. It just works well.
There's more bonding time. We're all here at the same time. We have the same hobby and passion.
Do you feel like most people who get into this sport, fresh, start bringing their spouses at some point too?
If they don't,
kind of a normal thing?
They definitely try.
Yeah.
And it starts like spouses and like close friends and work colleagues. It just kind of goes from there. Like a lot of our members is every day, hey, I tried getting my wife to come, or I tried getting my husband to come, and sometimes it works. Like right now, we've had like a lot of families, like a lot of our kids that train, their parents watch them on the benches, and now they're starting to jump into class.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can learn a lot of things just watching this thing, man.
Yeah.
And I learn a lot from watching, because usually after like 3 or 4 rounds in the night, I'm like, hey, I need to come back tomorrow. I'm gonna just sit and watch for a bit. I was rolling with one of your guys here. I think his name's Tony. I rolled with him Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it was just like rolling with a tank, man. He's big dude, and he just sort of like, as soon as he was on top, he just steamrolled my entire body.
He is surprisingly agile for his size.
Oh no, he's fast.
Yeah,
like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It wasn't just his the weight difference that made the difference in that roll. He knows what he's fucking doing.
Yeah.
Like, it was intense though. And I suppose that's probably why there are weight classes.
Yeah, I'm glad there is.
Yeah.
Tony, like right now he's a white belt, but once he's like blue belt, purple, he is gonna be a handful for some people.
It's an interesting thing, like it's kind of weird. I did this podcast really before I started getting into jiu-jitsu. I had always been really interested in it, and I did an episode out in Las Cruces, New Mexico, with Jacob Benitez, and he had encouraged me to come and take a class. And I listened to the episode where I had like taken one class, and it's totally different than how I feel now. And it's kind of awkward to have a podcast where I've like stepped into doing it more often.
Yeah.
Because things I thought at the beginning, it's like, oh, that turns out not to be true. It's actually kind of more like this. And you start to learn new things as you go. But at the same time, like, you have to like record and report on what you're doing. Like, you can't just wait until you have it all figured out and then be like, oh, now I can make a podcast about this thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like one big thing that I'm constantly learning is sort of the balance between like the strength versus like the the balance and the puzzle of the whole thing. Like, sometimes frankly roll with guys and it's a lot of strength. It's a lot of like, all right, man, I get that you have my arm and that there's no way you're letting it go, and that's fine. And that's certainly one way to do it. But then there's other people who it's like, they don't need anything in terms of strength. They're just, they know the physics of it so well.
I feel that was me, because like, I've always been the smaller guy. Even now I'm like 145 pounds. And you always hear, like, I think Joe Rogan said it, you're always better off learning jiu-jitsu from a smaller person, because they don't have strict line. They only have strictly technique. And that's where I feel with jiu-jitsu, that's where I'm able to excel. Like, up until like 2 years ago, I never really did much strength conditioning, especially strength training, heavy lifting. And now that I have, it definitely complements my game. But again, from day one, I've always been focused on technique.
Yeah. I've been one of those guys that I've done like different things in my life that I was into. So like there was a time where I was lifting a ton and I was like, oh, I'm going to bulk up. And I was like real big at one point. And then I've also been the skinniest dude around. And what's been really interesting.
Always been me.
Yeah, but it's cool to like see both sides of it, because I would have thought initially that like going into jiu-jitsu, the best thing you could do would be like really jacked. But now I'm like, actually the thing I do that helps me the most, I think, is the yoga. I know that's crazy, but it's like
that actually isn't like. I'm 34 now. I started when I was 19. I definitely don't feel the same when I was like even 29.
Yeah.
Before I hit 30. So like a lot like self-maintenance, yoga, stretching, stuff like that's really making a difference.
And like, and it's also, I feel like the big yoga connection for me is the ability to like breathe calmly under duress.
Yes.
So like even now when someone's got me in a really tight side control or a knee on belly and all that weight's there and I want to just panic and suffocate. Instead now I can just be like, I'm going to breathe really calm. I'm going to slow my heart rate down. And that has become like its own challenge in being a white belt. Is like, I already know I'm going to lose. I'm fully aware of that as I walk into any role. Like, okay, I'm going to lose, but can I survive a little bit longer? Can I just like stay calm, keep the energy?
Yeah.
on my side.
Yeah, it definitely comes down to breathing. That's like one of the most like valuable lessons to learn, but a lot of people don't get that right away.
Yeah. Have you read that James Nestor book, Breathe or Breath?
I
It's called
haven't.
Breath. Man, this is the new craze. It got really, really big on Joe Rogan, of course. But I read it. It's phenomenal. I mean, he really talks specifically about like a big part of the book is like breathing through your nose and what a massive difference that makes for people.
Yeah.
And it's sort of insane. And now I've got like the mouth guard going too. And so it's like even more reason for me to close my mouth and just breathe through my nose. But it's intense. It's really hard to bring that here and bring that same energy. But I also don't do what you do. I'm talking too much about myself. Because you're going to go bitch slap people in combat jiu-jitsu, which is its own thing. Can you help me understand some of the rules? Because I'm not entirely up to speed.
So is jiu-jitsu with slaps. We could only start slapping once the fight hits the ground. And the good thing with that too is like you only have a minute on the feet. If there's no takedowns, right away it goes to what we call the purgatory position. So a ref flips a coin, and one of us can start on bottom and butterfly guard, with like double underhooks, and it just goes from there. But yeah, what I really enjoy about it is I have an MMA background, so this is like a step below MMA. Like people say, "Oh, combat jiu-jitsu like seems really hard." It's like it is, but it's not as hard as MMA.
Yeah.
So from that aspect, that's what intrigues me is like the slaps, especially training it. It opens up a different style of jiu-jitsu. It kind of like shows you what you really are good at and what you need work on. Like a lot of times, we get comfortable, we pull guard, we get tired, we're like, oh, I'll just play half guard, just lay on my back, and you can't do that because now you're getting slapped.
Right. Yeah, I do. I mean, you see that even when guys are messing around, rolling. Like the other night, one of your guys was, on top of another guy, and he's clearly taking a break on the bottom there.
Yeah.
And he just starts kind of teasing him by just like, hey, I could punch you here, I could punch you here, I could punch you here, and that's sort of taking jiu-jitsu into the real world and being like, in the real world, you can't really just sit there and relax.
You're going to get punched in your face, so you just lay on your back.
I'd be sitting here, but it'd be the slap instead of the punch. Is that just to kind of minimize injury or like?
Yeah, I think like if they were to do like actual strikes, I don't think they'd be able to like get sanctioned, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a little too close to MMA also at that point.
Yeah.
For slaps, that's kind of that.
But open hand slap, I mean, that can be pretty brutal too.
Yeah. If you watch like some of the previous combat matches, there's people that have gone stopped by strikes, which is actually a way to win. You don't have to win just by submission.
But how do you know? Like how can you tell? Is it when they stop covering up or?
So there's actually a ref that's reffing it, and just like in an MMA fight, it's up to him. Like say I have a guy mounted, I'm striking him good 15, 20 times. There's a real good chance the ref's gonna stop it.
Right. Even if he's covered up, it's sort of
like even if he's covered
he's taking
up.
enough damage.
Yeah.
We're staying right here, and that's interesting, man. That's got to be the hardest sport in the world to ref. Do you ref at all? Like,
I don't. That's something I definitely want to do. Like once I'm done fighting myself.
Yeah.
But even that's gonna be hard because I always tell myself I'm not gonna ever truly retire.
Yeah.
Just probably 50 years old. Like, hey, I feel like fighting again.
And you would do MMA fights at 50?
If my body was holding up, yeah, I definitely.
What would it be like? How would you know if your body was holding up or not?
I just feel you just know, like again, like being 34, I could feel myself kind of slowing down, not so much slowing down, but need to recover more, need to take care of myself more. So I feel it'd be one of those things like, am I crippled at 50? Am I able to walk? Am I able to train right?
And then you gotta watch, like you have to watch the head injuries like so much, because that really catches up, and that's gnarly, man. That's why the rest of us don't mess around with MMA, but
that's why like also you have to be smart about not only your career but your training.
Yeah, like
you always hear like how training has even evolved from like even 10 years ago. I remember when I first started training, it was like sparring 2-3 times a week, hard sparring, no headgear, just little MMA gloves, and you get used to it. But like now, 10 years later, I could definitely see a difference.
Yeah. There's other things that have evolved too, like even a whole lot of recovery. I feel like has evolved.
Yes.
What's nice, I love that nutrition evolves because like I'm super into nutrition. Like I cook everything for us at home. That's kind of been our thing. And again, people who listen to this podcast are already really annoyed with me talking about cooking and like sourdough and all the things I talk about. But that's what I do. And to me, that's always been like the biggest factor. It's like I feel like convinced that I could stop working out tomorrow, but as long as I kept cooking everything and eating well, I'd be healthy, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, this is just the bonus. But like what kind of things do you focus on when you're doing this? Because you have to worry. You do a weight cut? I'm assuming for Worlds.
Yeah, luckily though, like again, I've never been a big guy, so I've never been a big weight cutter.
Yeah.
Like even this is at 135. I walk around 145, 148 at the heaviest.
That's still hard though, man. Especially, I mean, I think that'd be harder if you're little, like, because you have to. I've been there. I've been that guy, and it's easy enough to like lose the weight, but when it really starts going, it keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it gets hard to like maintain. Like
Yeah.
when I'm like deep into camp, when I'm training 3 times a day, it does get hard to keeping weight on. Even like eating as much as I try to, it just
Right.
feels like it just keeps going off.
What do you end up eating mostly? Is it like protein and veggies, or what is it?
See that like I'm not really big like on diet. I know like what I should be eating, like what I shouldn't be eating, stuff like that. So I'm usually pretty disciplined as that,
Yeah.
but I don't have like a strict diet or anything.
Oh yeah, okay. All right. I get you.
Luckily, I like
hear
eating.
that. I've turned so many people onto the sourdough game. That's been my big thing. Like I've like so many different health people that I get to talk to who are like all about the keto thing, and they're like, "No,
Why
I
do you
don't touch
prefer
that."
sourdough?
Oh man, the poor podcast guest that you just asked that question. Because gluten is a really good source of protein, and when you use it right, when you like make sourdough and it's got wild yeast and it's getting processed, it's so much better for your body. It doesn't spike your glycemic index. It's just a million times better. So that has been a big thing for us. Like, so I eat way more bread than my body type looks like, which is pretty awesome. So that's been the big one for me. But then also like there's other things in recovery like that have changed. Like I feel like stretching's out and rolling's in and all sorts of things. Like what kind of things do you subscribe to when it comes to that?
Definitely stretching, because like that's one thing I've always never enjoyed was stretching. But again, getting older, I feel the benefits whenever now that I'm stretching more consistently.
Right.
But stretching, I'm really big on Epsom salt baths.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the magnesium going.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know what? It's stupid. Hang on. I'm worried that I set the camera up all wrong because I didn't check it on my phone. And I always do. And I'm like, I could easily be out of frame and not even know. Let me see. We'll make sure. Yeah, I know. This app sucks. Oh, no, we're good. We're good. Sorry,
Awesome.
people. Sorry to interrupt. There's something always running in the back of my head that's like, did I set everything up right? Like, please tell me we're rolling on this. Man, I've lost whole episodes and it's not fun.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But usually it's like online ones that really go poorly. But I like doing them in person, so I'm glad.
How often do you do your episodes?
I try to do once a week. Like the goal is an episode a week, but as anybody who follows along knows, it's often like I have to go 2 weeks, without one because it always just depends on where I am. It's like if I'm looking for someone cool to talk to, sometimes that's hard. Sometimes that's really difficult in certain cities, certain time periods. Like over the holidays, no one wants to do a podcast with me. They're like, man, my parents are in town. Like I don't have any time for that.
See, I feel I'm pretty sure like being in the jiu-jitsu community kind of helps you, because there's always like different walks of life in every gym. So.
Yeah, and now I've done like something with pretty much every place I've stopped at. And it's just, I mean, it's such a nicer way to like, it's nice to like have a connection with different people and to know like, I come to this town a lot, so when I come back, I know I can come here and train.
Oh yeah,
and it's awesome. Okay, what were we talking about? Okay, so you're into the stretching. Do you get into the rolling stuff? Because I still haven't gotten into any like rolling.
Not as much as stretching.
Yeah,
I'll do it, but it's not like part of my daily routine, if you will.
I feel old school about it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when someone's like Andrea's really into it and she'll show me stuff, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah.
But like when I stretch, I can tell that it's getting better and things are warming up. I don't know, man. I should probably get into it though. The science is kind of there.
Yeah.
I'm just behind.
Same.
Yeah. So this week we have been working on mostly like some. What would you call we've been working on? Like a Kimura roll.
Yeah. So pretty much countering shin to shin guard or passive shin to shin guard with the rolling Kimura.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of like this whole little 4-part series that I've been working on.
Do you like to do like kind of a week at a time of like a different piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, so it started out like our technique, our curriculum would be like pretty much like 1 week. Then it kind of turned into 2 weeks, and now it's been like lately 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
On like one technique?
Yeah, or like for example, in fundamentals class we were going over butterfly guard.
Yeah.
This is actually our second week in butterfly guard, and looking at it, everything I want to teach, we're probably going to be in another 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's when you start getting into it, you don't realize all the layers of everything. But like you can break down any single thing you're doing here into so many pieces, and then you have to think about how are they going to react to that.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
That always is kind of like a curveball. It's like I have this lesson planned out. We're gonna go over an arm drag, then we're gonna turn into a shoulder crunch. But then somebody has a question like, "Hey, I can't get the shoulder crunch down," or my partner's giving this reaction.
Yep.
Then it kind of just changes things. You gotta improvise and adjust.
Yeah, I always feel too like asking, and I rarely do, but I always want to ask any technique that we're doing, like, all right, let's say I'm the other guy, because usually I'm not the guy that knows what I'm doing. Like, usually I'm not the guy that's like, all right, this is how I butterfly sweep, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it, because in a roll I'm so lost still, that I want to know, like, all right, when he sweeps me, what should I be focused on? But usually we cover some pieces of that, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it's just as much of a job when you're drilling something with someone to be the dummy, to be the person.
You got to be a good dummy.
Right.
If not, you're gonna mess up the technique for your partner, but you're gonna mess up for the rest of the class, because then I have to go, all right, you can't do this because it's not the right reaction. This is gonna change up the technique entirely.
Yeah, like
a lot of people don't know that.
The Kimura Plata, the one we've been working on.
Yes.
Like you have to position yourself right for your partner to get.
Yeah, exactly. You have to give the reaction of you're trying to prevent the armbar by dropping your weight into them.
Right.
If not, that motion's not there to be able to spin under them.
Yeah. Man, this is a complicated sport.
Yeah.
But you've been doing this for a long time.
15 years now.
And is the love is all still there? It's not.
Yes.
It doesn't change.
Honestly, I've never lost it. Like when I first started training, it just felt nothing's ever felt natural, as what jiu-jitsu's brought to me. And 15 years, I've never taken a break.
Why did you start training in the first place?
So it's for like backstory before that. Growing up, I've always been in pro wrestling.
Oh, okay.
And then
wait, you were into pro wrestling, or you were like doing wrestling?
No, I was into pro wrestling.
Into pro wrestling,
yeah.
Okay.
Watching it as a kid, stuff like that.
That's pretty much what we do here. Roughly.
Yeah.
Clotheslines and stuff like that.
Yeah, people tell me pro wrestling is fake. It's like, let me get you into this yes lock and see how fake this is.
Yeah, it definitely hurts. That's something no one's debating.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But that turned into like I'd watch amateur wrestling, not knowing there was like a difference. So, like I want to wrestle one day, and that was just always in the back of my head. I wanted to wrestle, but I grew up in a real small town here in Texas, which basically had like football, basketball, baseball. There was no wrestling. So
like at your high school, there was not a wrestling team?
No.
That's crazy. In Texas?
Yeah,
Dang, dude, that's a small school.
It was like 3,000 population.
Yeah, but I mean, like how many kids were in your high school?
Total about 250. And so like my graduating
really
class,
small.
we had like one of the bigger classes. We had like 60.
Okay, because like I think my school had like maybe 400, and I felt like that was kind of small.
Yeah,
which
we're
it
way
is,
smaller
but
than that.
That's wild, man. Yeah, I guess you probably didn't have a wrestling team.
Yeah,
because anybody who's like, I want to wrestle, they're like, you need to play football. Like, you stop messing around with that wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
So you didn't get to do any experience with that in high school.
No, none.
That's good to hear because I didn't either. So I know that I can still do it. So then you started jiu-jitsu because that was.
So from there, once I graduated, I moved to San Antonio. I was going to college over there. And my brother, he actually moved to San Antonio also. So, he'd always come over, and he got really big into UFC. He started collecting DVDs, and he'd always come over, and we start watching them. And it just piqued my interest from there. I just started watching them more and more. We'd spar at the house, throw gloves on. We'd start rolling with each other.
Yep.
And there, when I was in college, I just remember hearing an ad on the radio. There was a local school that was teaching jiu-jitsu down the street. And to be honest, I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu was. I just thought it was all fighting. It's like I didn't know it was everything you do on the ground.
Right.
So it's like, I'll go check it out. And my brother, he actually started training first. So he's like, yeah, you need to check it out. They were a real good instructor. So I went and checked it out. And so after the first class, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I started training, just never stopped.
Yeah.
To this day.
How long was the period for you where all you did was get your ass kicked? How long did that go on for?
I would say for sure the first 6 months to a year.
Okay.
But I still have my moments because again, I just felt it came naturally to me.
Yep.
I would do
because that's pretty fast. I feel like compared to a lot of what I hear, like 6 months to a year. Maybe like you definitely get to know what you're doing in that time period. But to be like, I'm fairly confident walking into something. That's pretty cool.
Tournaments was a different story. Like
okay.
I did my first tournament. Was it 3 months after training? I got guillotined like a minute.
Yeah. Well, that's a sneaky
and
one
even then when that happened, I was like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm like, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just kept doing it. I did another tournament a couple of months later. It was the same result. I got guillotined. I took a horrible shot and I got caught in like minute and a half.
Mm-hmm. So when did MMA kind of pick up for you? Was it after you started into jiu-jitsu?
So it was about a year and a half. So I started jiu-jitsu in 2006. I had my first amateur MMA fight the summer of 2007.
That's quick. Dang, dude.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, let's just go for it. Had you worked anything else to that point? Like you had gotten some experience with some striking and things like that?
Yeah, so I started in San Antonio. I actually moved up here to go to college, and I never went. I found a gym up here, and I started training, and I was like, I just want to do this all the time. I want to know what I'm going to school for. It's not for me. I'm wasting money going to school. Like, I'll just train, and I let my parents know, and they weren't happy about it. But
what were you going to school for?
Kinesiology, which is ironic because I'm a coach now.
Yeah, yeah.
Without the college degree.
It kind of works.
Yeah.
It worked out. You went the practical route. I feel like I could have done without college, to be honest. Sorry, Milliken. But like, you know.
Hey, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, you're probably going to go and find something that you're really into. I'm a big fan of the idea of like go to college after you've kind of figured out what you really like to do. Maybe start there.
I think more importantly, like just follow your passion.
Yeah.
What you're passionate about, pursue it.
Right. And then, well, that's the thing too, is like college doesn't have to be a part of everybody's story.
Yeah.
Like more and more, I feel like college only makes sense for really certain professions. It's like, obviously, if you want to be a doctor, you're probably gonna need to go to college.
Yeah.
But like, or a lawyer or something like that. But honestly, if you want to be an entrepreneur, start your own business, just go get experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go start doing stuff.
Yeah.
Or I guess in the martial arts, just start competing like crazy and training like crazy. So how long was your journey to black belt?
So let me see. I got my black 11 years.
11 years.
But the first like 4 years, I was basically trained by myself. I didn't have like a set coach. So like when I first started training in San Antonio, I had a coach there for the first 6 months when I was living there. Then when I moved up here, it was more MMA based. Like the gym I had joined at the time was MMA. They had jiu-jitsu, but like even the instructor, he was the black belt in Vale Tudo. So he wasn't even ranked himself, but he taught legit technique. Like a lot I learned, like I used. And so first 4 years, I was kind of just trained by myself. It's ironic too because I actually started teaching when I was a white belt.
Oh, really?
In fact, some of my students currently, they started with me as a white belt.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty fast.
I like for me, my credentials was MMA fighting.
Yeah.
But even that is crazy. 'Cause at the time, I was only an amateur.
Right. Well, I mean, that's not that crazy for anybody who like thinks that's nuts or something. Like I've been trained by a blue belt and it was great. Like, you know.
Yeah, my first instructor was actually a blue belt.
Yeah, especially if you get someone who can really teach, and like there's such a difference. Like the things that a blue belt knows, it's a lot of it is out of reach as a white belt. I mean, I think the belt system's fairly legitimate in that way that it's like, yeah, you've got a lot to teach me. Although there's surprising white belts, dude. I did my homework before our podcast and I saw you had a match at the On It Invitational, and this white belt who was just like, he's 15 and he was insane.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, he was actually blue belt at the time.
Oh, he was blue belt. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but even that though, like against a 15-year-old kid, like sadly I lost that match, but that kid's on a tear. Like
yeah, and he did not look like how I looked when I was 15.
Same.
As soon as like when I was watching the video and the announcer was like, "Oh, 15-year-old," and I was like, "What?" Because like the other day, even here, my drilling partner was like this 15-year-old kid, and he's just this tiny little scrawny dude. Yeah. I don't know his name, but I was like, wait, 15? Not like 15 that I was partnered with the other day because he's gonna wreck him. But no, this kid is like a savage. But that's jiu-jitsu, man. I mean, when you take a sport that's invented by the little guy, that's an advantage. Every day I feel like it's so stupid that I'm so long. Like I just want to put my knee in, and it's 4 feet in the air. Like I can't.
It's so intriguing too for that reason. Like name a sport where somebody smaller has an advantage over somebody bigger.
I mean, you've got your outliers in basketball. I mean, you've got little guys in basketball that can still hang.
But most of the guys are, even for being smaller guys, they're like
small is still relative. Yeah, exactly, in that sport. Man, I don't know.
Maybe baseball, but
yeah, but they're still just like massive. They're still like bulky dudes.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean wrestling and MMA is where it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I was to stand next to Conor McGregor, it'd be like a funny picture because I think I'm a lot taller than him, but it doesn't matter. Like, have you seen that video of him like kind of play fighting with the Mountain, the big dude?
Oh
from
yeah,
Game of
yeah,
Thrones?
yeah.
That's hilarious to me. But there's no chance. He's so much faster. It's like, as long as you can't grab me, we're fine.
Yeah.
Man, so what do you focus on when it comes to MMA? Are you still doing MMA then? You want to do it forever, but like, are you actively in it right now?
So I'm not actively in it, but it's not by choice. It's the whole pandemic put a like dent in everybody's plans. The state of Texas barely opened back up like 3-4 months ago.
Right.
But it's hard for me to get fights. Like I'm in a shitty predicament. Like right now, Sally, as a pro MMA fighter, I'm 10-12. I went from 7-3 to 10-12. I just got too much too soon. Got big wins. I just want to build on it. Didn't make the right choices. Moved up in weight. Fought hard guys. Just fight after fight. All that like drained on me. So now I'm a first degree black belt, losing record. Where's the upside in fighting somebody like that?
Interesting. I wouldn't think about that, but I guess that's true.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of harder to find fights.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
that
because
happens.
I'm way better than what my record indicates.
Yeah. Well, and you were a kid too when you think about it. Like, that's crazy to have this notion that someone couldn't like evolve their game.
Yeah.
That's wild, man. So there's nothing like on the horizon that you know of?
No, like if a fight was offered, like say April, May, June, I'd be all over it.
Right.
But sadly, it's not happening right now.
Well, I mean, I guess that's hopefully the new timeline of when this whole thing kind of we start to get back to normal anyway. From what I hear, it sounds like we've got vaccines in May or something, and things are going to start opening up.
Yeah.
I really hope so, because I feel like we've just been hearing that for the last
Year. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy how quickly. So my wife made a documentary about our first year on the road. I actually just watched the like final cut this morning. She's about to drop it like next week or something. And there's a clip of us in March of 2020, like in Brooklyn, that place I told you about, actually. And we're like, we don't know what's going on. We don't know it. And it's weird to watch that, because we were like, is this thing going to be over by like May or June? Or like, are we talking longer? And we were like, there's no way we could have, if you had told us like, no, it's going to be easily a year and a half, we would have been like, that's bullshit. No way. But here we are.
Isn't it funny though how the narrative keeps changing?
I don't like
2
that.
weeks to flatten the curve. Now we're coming up on a year of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It's just,
I try to do my best to be understanding about the whole thing, but I guess my position has always been just like, I'm going to do what is like right for me. And for me, I know that like I can mostly do a lot of the things I do because I'm young and I'm in good health.
yeah.
But man, this is tough.
It is, because no matter what your take on it is, someone's gonna view you as selfish.
Well, and it's gonna impact everybody's lives, no matter what. So it's not like, as long as, I mean, because I'm not gonna go out there and be a complete asshole and just like run into a nursing home with my mask off and be like, hey, here we go, like fuck everybody. But at the same time, that's how it's like you're viewed as doing that for doing stuff like going to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but I mean, this is elective, man. We all chose to be here.
Yeah.
We're all aware of the risk of this thing. It's tough, man. But I guess hopefully there'll be more kind of that comes up, and some of these events get back on, and things get back on track in a little while. That's what we can all hope for.
I just want to get back to normal already. This is a
Yeah.
year into this already.
You know what? It's cool. Jiu-jitsu's nice though, because for anybody who wants to experience something a little more normal, you walk in the building and it feels like normal again. You know, I found that at every school I've been at, because that's the jiu-jitsu world, man. Like people in jiu-jitsu are pretty out there and pretty open about wanting their freedom, and you know, it's all good. So
See, I think even more than that though, for a lot of us, this is our therapy. This is like our medication, and you take that away from us, what do we do?
yeah, I mean, I can't count on one hand the number of guys I've met who have honestly been like, jiu-jitsu saved my life.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we don't know what that is for anybody else. Like jiu-jitsu is that for a lot of people. I don't know what that is for the next guy. Like, his job may be the thing that saves his life. He may need something to do or to feed his family. Like, so you don't really know what anybody's like, this is what I need. This is my therapy.
Yeah.
And so when you start closing things down, it's like, I don't know what that meant to somebody. Because like in New Mexico, like I don't know how many people no longer get to go train, and they needed that.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've talked about this a number of times on the podcast. Like when you walk in the gym versus when you leave, you feel totally different.
Yeah.
It's
You
super
get that
humbling.
euphoric feeling. You're
Yeah.
humbled. You're
Yeah.
like whatever problems you had, you're too tired for one thing to even think about.
Yeah, exactly. Your ego's really down a peg too.
Uh-huh.
But you know what? So I told you about this the other night, but you guys do mostly evening classes here.
Uh-huh.
That's been a big adjustment for me, man. I don't know. I guess that's more normal though, isn't it? I'm the weird one for wanting class in the morning, right?
Now it's like there's honestly classes just every day, like all day, every day now. So
Yeah.
it's kind of just whatever fits for you. Daytime class work better.
Right. I guess, I mean, I get a lot of people have that 9 to 5. I'm lucky enough that I can choose my own schedule and work when I want to, which for me lately has been like 6 a.m. I don't know why, but it's been good. And coming after, like, I'll eat dinner before I come here, but I've started eating dinner at like 3 o'clock.
It's crazy. I don't eat dinner till like 10 at night.
But I can't do that. I have to get up early now. Like, I will die if I eat when I go home after this. But it's like kind of a struggle. It's kind of like, this is weird.
Yeah.
I feel weird about showing up, and I've eaten, like tonight, I will show up tonight at 6:30 and I will have like a full pizza in me. That's what I'm making for dinner, I think. I'm making some sourdough pizza, and I'm going to be like,
there you go.
yeah, it is. I'll be really nervous. I'm going to be like, all right, I'm good, right? Like the other night, I was, there's always that point where some guy came up and he's like, hey man, you want to roll? And I had already rolled like 4 times.
Yeah, I remember that. We're sitting over here off to the side.
Yeah, I was just
like, no, I gotta preserve myself for tomorrow.
Listen, man. Yeah. First of all, I got to show back up tomorrow, but also like I worked really hard making dinner. I would like to keep it where it is.
Yeah. And not on these mats.
Man, and that's tricky. But you're definitely a night owl. Like, I got your message last night, like midnight.
Yeah. That's. Then again, that's part of recovery that I struggle with. Like,
oh yeah.
I want to go to sleep earlier, but for some reason I can't.
Well,
Honestly, I blame jiu-jitsu because a lot of times my mind just does not stop rolling.
really?
Yes.
Well, I guess because you don't really roll in the evenings because you're rolling during the day.
I'll do both.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, like majority of my training is actually here with my students.
Oh really?
Uh-huh.
But when does that happen? Does that happen after I've already left and
No, so
lights are off?
yeah. So like this week, I'm sure you're referring to, you didn't see me rolling that much.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and it's because the majority of my training this week was actually during the day.
Oh okay.
Yeah,
I
so
gotcha.
nighttime I'd roll, but it was more like overtime rounds to
Okay.
prepare for Combat Worlds.
I gotcha. Because my thought was like, if you're rolling at night though, like when I get home after rolling, I need 15 minutes to tell Andrea like, hey, I caught one submission, like it's crazy, and I'm super amped up about it. And then I like grab a shower and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm out, and I go to sleep.
I wish that was me.
Really?
That is not the case.
What do you just like? You're just like moving in your head, like
Yes.
trying to go to sleep, and you're like, I can't.
Yeah, I'll just like first I'll lay down like later than I should, but even then I'll still stay up another 2 or 3 hours. I'll just catch myself like just start praying and, God, please help me go to sleep. Like, I need to wake up early. I need to go train. I need to get ready for this. I need to get up at 6 a.m. to get my kids to school, and it's 4 a.m. already.
Oh shit, man.
And most of the time, it's honestly jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. What are the things you obsess about? Like, what's stuck in your head?
Lately, it's been teaching. I've been more like evolving into more of a teacher, and just like the little details just set me off. Like, for example, it goes back to we're talking about how a whole lesson plan. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Then a curveball's thrown at me to where I got off topic because of something, so I just placed in my head like, all right, I was showing rear naked choke, but I forgot to show the grip correctly. So what can I do to change that? And just one thing leads to another, and just
Right.
before I know it, it was like 4 a.m. I lay down at 12:31 and still not going to sleep.
Is part of that like as you're watching your students roll, you're like seeing the little mistakes and the little things, and you're like, do you feel like responsible for all of it? Like, I need to help them get that.
So it's more like on the actual teaching when I'm teaching this technique, because like again, I'm always rolling with my students, so it's not one of those things I could always sit down and just watch each and every one of them, unless they come up to me after class and, hey, I had trouble with this, can you help me with that?
Yeah, man. Well, that's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot on your shoulders. But you gotta get some sleep, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I know.
And then that's got to be even harder when you're like on the road. And like, so will you have any time off? So Worlds is in Cancun,
Yeah.
right? So do you get any time off to like actually enjoy the fact that you're in Cancun for a minute, or?
Not not like I'd like. So we fly in Friday, then we'll be there Friday, Saturday, compete Sunday, then fly right back on Monday.
Oh, see, that's the worst. Because then if you even want to do anything, you're like, well, I have to compete still on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't
even eat what I want to eat.
Yeah.
Because probably at that point I will probably be dieting.
Yeah.
So I don't have to have like a weight cut.
I guess you can just blow it all out Sunday night. And
Yeah.
just sleep on the flight home.
Exactly.
What's are you taking the whole family?
Just wife's going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. Well, good luck going down to Mexico. You've had a slew of people getting in trouble for going to Cancun in Texas lately. That's what I've heard. I heard some people bailed on the storm. You guys missed all the fun.
I mean, I wish I could have bailed on the storm.
I
Who
know.
wanted to?
I know. I did because I stayed in Albuquerque and I was like, I'm not going to Fort Worth right now. Like we were sitting in Albuquerque and I saw that thing, like that day there was the big pile up, and I was like, I think we'll stall a few days before we go out to
that
Texas.
was crazy.
Yes. It got bad here, didn't it? Did you guys lose power for a while?
We did. Thankfully we weren't like out of power like the whole week like a lot of people were, but we did lose it for like half a day, and it was like right in the middle of the night. It was like 0 degrees outside, and we had no power.
Did you have any heat? Like, did you have anything you could do, or
just stay under blankets?
Jeez,
Luckily, the next day, my wife's coworker was gracious enough to give some firewood.
Yeah.
So we just immediately started getting fires going.
How long did that last for?
It actually lasted the whole week, but like it was still really super cold. Like the downstairs in the house doesn't warm up for whatever reason. So
you're all just like curled up
yeah,
in the
just
living
bundled
room.
up. Yeah,
just, like,
exactly.
did you sleep down there too? Like, is that the only?
It would have been too cold.
Really?
Just 2 or 3 blankets.
Oh man, that's crazy. There's parts of being an RV when it gets really cold that are way harder. Like you have to worry about your pipes freezing and like your water freezing. And actually, the park we were staying at, like their whole water system broke during the storm, and they had to like replace their own water pump and stuff. But there's parts that are a little nicer because I just run on propane right there. There's a propane tank down, like I can walk to it and go fill up the tanks, and so you can pretty much run your heat like all day and just be fine, even if the power were to go out.
Yeah.
So we got kind of lucky. When are you going on the road? Because you told me you're gonna travel and do the van life.
We don't have nothing planned, but I'm not sure. I hope soon. But it's even not even like so much on the road anymore. Like me and my wife don't enjoy driving anymore.
Oh, what?
Yeah, like when I was younger, I loved road trips.
Yeah.
Like fight trips, just I didn't care. Now it's like I'd rather fly.
Why is that? Is it with the kids? Is it because it's like
not so much the kids, just for some reason the drive seemed longer. Being cramped in a car for so long. Once I get out, it's like I gotta stretch, and I hate stretching, and yeah,
it's kind of the worst. It is. We did last year. We did as part of this documentary. We did Seattle to Charleston within like a couple. It was probably like a week. I don't want to over exaggerate here. It was really fast though. And it's just like straight across the country, and it took us so long.
Yeah.
And we were just in pain by the time we got there. And then we got there and then found out our client had COVID, and they were like, well, we have to cancel the shoot now.
That sucks.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, man. It's not the easiest lifestyle, but it's pretty worth it to be able to do that. But
yeah.
I can imagine that would be really hard now because you've got an anchor here. You've got something you have to come back to, and you got people that rely on you. People
and like as a teacher, I do not like missing class.
Yeah. You are able to though sometimes, right? Because you have like other people that can jump in.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, like the way my schedule is like set up, I'll teach Monday through Thursday. So like Friday, Saturday, I'll go train at headquarters. But also, I got to compete. I don't have to worry about not having somebody here because I have my other instructors, my teammates.
Fairly self-sustaining system.
Yeah,
which is pretty good. Are you going to be there tonight still?
I won't be here. I'll be over at River Oaks.
My last night, man.
Yeah, you're good. Come out there. Go train over there. Get a different look.
What on tonight instead?
Yeah.
What time?
Same time. 6:30.
Maybe, but then I have to drive there.
Yeah.
Which I don't like because this is like 15 minutes for me.
Yeah. More convenient. I understand. It's always a good crowd here though. Also on Fridays.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Is it just like an open mat or is
it's actual class?
It's full class. Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember BJ. He's one of my brown belts. He teaches on Friday nights.
Okay. Well, I should come work with him, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just trying to get out of the drive. Actually, there's like morning stuff on the weekends out at River Oaks.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. I might. Well, I'm not quite sure. I have a shoot like all week, and we're doing this online course, so maybe I can do that. This is so not podcast talk though. People are like, oh, like this is great learning about your schedule. Thanks for making a podcast about this. Sorry, folks, but you'll know when you start doing jiu-jitsu that you literally just want to keep going. Like
you won't understand until you do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Not this is all just what are they talking about? It's just boring.
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
But we can talk about other things besides jiu-jitsu, can't we? What else
yeah.
are you into? What's your other, or is your whole life? Because you're training a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe your whole life kind of is jiu-jitsu at the moment.
Yeah, honestly, it is. Sadly, I'm a jiu-jitsu junkie.
Yeah, it's an addiction, man. And when you take time off of it, it's the worst thing. I imagine that gets different as you get a little more experience under your belt. But like, I had almost a month off because of the storm and being in New Mexico. And then coming back to it, I was like, you don't even have your feet under you at all.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I remember the basics, but you've just taken a massive step back.
Uh-huh.
And it's just the worst feeling to know you're not going to make progress in the same way.
Yeah.
You have to be in it. Like, it's a commitment.
Grind don't stop. I always say that. Grind doesn't stop and grind doesn't care. Whatever reason, like you're not on the match training, somebody's getting better.
Yeah. Sometimes I can convince Andrea to work with me a little bit. And just like, hey, can I run this with you? She's pretty good about that.
She doesn't train herself?
So she's come to a class with me, and she has said, I've heard her say different things about it. I asked her today, I was like, are you going to do this at some point? Because she's been like, one day I'm really going to do it. And then she's also been like, I don't know if that's my thing. But I think she would be awesome at it. She danced for her whole life. And so she, like, her awareness of her body, like when I come in here, I'm like a child. It's like, where's my right arm? Like,
where do I place this?
Understanding, like when you show something, it's gotten way better, by the way. Like the learning curve has gone way down. I can watch something and know and feel comfortable. But when it's like your first day and someone shows you like, all right, we're going to run this from half guard. And you literally have to start with like, what is half guard? Like my leg goes here and your leg goes here. And I didn't have any of that. But she can look at stuff because it's choreography, man. So she can have someone demonstrate something to her once and she's like, okay. And then she can do it with her body. So I think she's going to excel way faster than me. I really need a solid head start before she starts doing this. Because when she gets going, it's going to be, I'm done for.
You're going to be in trouble.
I'm going to be in trouble. I highly anticipate she'll be kicking my ass at some point. And the weight won't help me. And I know that for a fact because I know I've rolled with like tiny female black belt.
Yeah.
Heather, I love you. And she just destroyed me. It doesn't matter.
Jiu-jitsu.
It's amazing. No, she's definitely going to get into it at some point. I'll convince her to do it. You can't not. Like, and when you learn it and you just, I think we all want the best for our spouse. Is that kind of how it went with like you and your wife too? Is like that's what I think is, I want the best for my spouse. This thing is amazing. It's totally undescribable in what it does for you. And also, I feel safer that I know it, and I feel more in control of myself out in the world. So I want that for my wife. I would like her to feel all those good things. I think that's why people bring their spouse into it. Mm-hmm. But is that kind of how it worked for you too, or was it more like, this is my whole life, so you kind of either you're into it or not?
Yeah, honestly, it was kind of more of that. Like when we first got together, I was ready 4 or 5 years into my career already, fighting. Teaching, whatnot. So once we got together, it's kind of like we set the ground rules. It's like, this is my life. This is what I do myself. There's times I'll just get up and leave because I got to go train. And she was always understanding about it. But then she was like, no, it actually looks intriguing. I wouldn't mind trying it. I need to work out. She tried it. It's kind of same thing. She just got hooked from day one. Mm-hmm. It just.
What was she doing before?
As far as like athletics wise, like working out, stuff like that, really nothing. She was just had a regular job, took care of the kids, stuff like that. But
yeah, and then now she's hooked.
Yeah,
and she does MMA too, right?
She had 2 amateur fights. Then it was more like bucket list type thing for her. Just say she did it. She went 1-1, but now she's more focused on jiu-jitsu. Like now she's a brown belt. She's been training herself now 8-9 years.
That's cool, man. Like. Do you guys roll together? Do you train together?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is it hard to not? Is it like, hey, we could just do jiu-jitsu right now? It would be awesome. Because that's how I feel. Like when she came to a class with me and I was like, hey, like I've got the mats. I could set them out and we could just go like roll.
Yeah.
And she was like it's exciting.
Yeah.
Do you have to stop yourselves from like doing jiu-jitsu?
No, not so much. It's more now like at the point like, cause we have mats at our house also. It's like hey, I saw this, let me try it on you. And I was just, she's just kind of used to it at this point. It's always been like that.
Yeah, that's the struggle for like jiu-jitsu spouses. It's like, hey, I need to show this, or I need to practice this with you.
Yeah.
Or also I'm just gonna tackle you really quick.
Yeah,
Is that all
exactly.
right? Yeah, the kids do it too. Yeah.
Yes.
So is it all wrestling for them? Is it like they're really, really into it? Is it something they all want to do?
Yeah,
or-
they're all really passionate about jiu-jitsu, which I'm glad of. Like, obviously they see the self-defense part of it, they understand that, but they just really have a love for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's a different vibe here too, because there's always like kids around, hanging out during class and stuff. Which, you know what? To be honest, for someone who doesn't have kids, I know that people who have kids have that filter where you don't even hear it, like kids running around and yelling and playing and stuff.
Yeah.
But I totally do. So I have to work really hard to be like, all right, focus on this instruction. But there's like a real family atmosphere here, which I feel like is kind of a cool thing you guys have done. And your gym's packed, man. Like, you guys, you've got a lot of people here who are clearly loyal to what you're doing. And that's really cool. How long has this gym been open in Burleson?
This one is 3 years now.
That's pretty fast I feel like you've got a good chunk of people who are like all about it here.
Yeah. See, for me though, like this, I've been at 4 or 5 different gyms before, so it's always been like I call like different eras of my life or my coaching tour. Like, this person from like 5-6 years ago from this gym has now came back. So there's always different people that have just kind of always followed me, which I feel fortunate enough to. Or just it helped build our gym into what it's turning into today.
And why'd you kind of end up in Burleson?
Why did we end up? Oh, so we're actually living in Fort Worth. I used to have my own gym, Legion of Honor, and that was like my baby. That was everything to me. We lost that gym. Like, negotiations fell through like literally the day before our lease was up. So it was like I had to explain to all my students, like, tomorrow's gonna be our last day of training.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Man, that's rough.
Yeah, but honestly, I always say, like, God has a plan for everything. And I knew even then, when we closed, because again, that was heartbreaking. That was my first ever gym. Like, I owned myself. Like, I put everything into it, and I just trusted him. I was like, I know you're gonna provide something better. I just put my trust in you. I know it hurts right now, and this was it.
Yeah. I like this town though. I mean, I always think it's nice to be like on the outskirts of a larger city. Like, I don't like living in.
I don't really enjoy the city life.
No, it's not the best. It's not the best. But having something where you have access to anything you might want is pretty cool. And this seems like there's like a small town vibe here, right? You guys are the Elks, right?
Yeah, Burleson Elks.
I thought it was.
Well, also Spartans.
Oh, the Spartans?
Two high schools here. My son actually goes to the other one, the Centennial. They're the Spartans.
Oh, screw the Elks then.
Yeah.
All right, we're all about the Spartans.
Yeah, we're at the Spartans.
That's my bad. I should have known. Dang. But that was all I figured out just like driving around.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, look, the high school is the Elks. But it's a nice town. It's got like a small town feel. But you guys are close to everything. It's certainly one of the places where I don't fight coming to Dallas Fort Worth. Like, it's always a good time here, and people are really nice.
You always find something to do.
Yeah, exactly. And luckily, there's good jiu-jitsu here, and good no-gi stuff. I got to make sure that I'm gonna check time because I don't want to make you late. Okay, we got a couple more. What do you have next after this? You're doing
strength conditioning. So the Chris, the one that was in here earlier, when you got here, he's actually my strength conditioning coach. So I'm going to work out with him.
What are you guys getting up to?
That's a good question. It's probably gonna kill me though, whatever he has planned.
Is it a lot of like kettlebell stuff or?
No, it's just a lot of strength training.
So just like free weights.
Yeah, free weights, machines. It's different toe difference though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never really been one real big on strength conditioning, and he's always pushed me. Like, he's one of my best friends. He's also been one of my students to when I was a white belt.
Okay.
He started
He's
with
been
me.
Here the whole time.
Yeah.
He's the guy on the Ducati, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. I just he looks like Joe Rogan to me, so that's all. I'm just like, hey Joe. Oh no, just kidding. No, he's a nice guy. What do you do for your cardio? Sorry, that word was just eluding me. I don't know why the word cardio was eluding me. What do you get up to mostly for cardio?
Definitely sprints. I enjoy sprints more than I do miles. I feel it's more realistic for what we do.
Yeah.
But sprints, it's crazy when I first heard him say it. Gordon Ryan talk about he does weightlifting for cardio.
How so?
So he says it's more to mimic when you're in a match when you're dead tired and you still got to push.
Oh shit.
He gets that same feeling from lifting. And lately, like with Chris, it's been more heavy lifting, and I'm starting to feel that. It's like fourth round, I'm like on my 10th rep, and I'm struggling,
Yeah.
and my arms are burning out, and
So you don't even get like breaks in between.
no,
things?
that's the thing too. It's just like one rep to the next or one set to the next.
Phew.
I like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping you might have a line for me on running spots in Burleson, because I haven't found a good like place to go run just yet. That's my only complaint about the town.
Yeah, I've that's another thing. I've never been like a big runner.
Okay. Dang, man.
I'm a
That's
horrible-
you know, it's
horrible
stupid,
host.
but you'd think that'd be an easy thing to find, but it's actually not. Like moving town to town, like you can look around and be like, oh, there's some parks. There's at least one park here that kind of goes around a little lake, but it's pretty small.
Yeah.
But then I'm just always like left looking, and where people run, like I never know. So when I'm like, oh, I'll just take off down the street, that's when you run by the house with, it's a farm dog, and it runs out and starts
Chasing you.
starts chasing you.
Yeah.
Like, so I can't just go. Like, that's not the easiest thing in the world. There's another travel tip for you. Make sure you know where the fuck you're going, because it kind of sucks sometimes, man. But luckily, like, jiu-jitsu makes that easier. Like, I always know if I can find a solid gym, there you go. There's the workout. Good to go.
Yeah, it's getting so popular now to where it's everywhere. You could be in a small town and there's a good chance there's gonna be a gym, not in that town, but like 15 minutes away.
Yeah, and when you're a white belt, again, it's like I can learn from blue belt. That's
Yeah.
fine. I don't require that much. I guess at some point you might get kind of discerning with your training and be like, that gym wasn't quite as good as that gym. But right now for me, it's not going to matter.
You'll get good rounds no matter where you
Yeah, it's not going to matter at all. Although I feel like there has been, I've noticed a difference. You know, I love my 10th Planet guys, but that gym is really competition based.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's intense. They're killers. And, you know, I feel like some places, I was completely outranked at that gym. Some places where there's a lot more white belts around, it's a lot nicer to be able to like work some things. Because I need my partner to make mistakes. There's no way I'm going to do anything if they're running a perfect game on me. That has been like a little, you guys you have some white belts here. I can actually like, get in the mix. So thanks for that, I guess. That's really helpful. I don't know I have anything else for you, man. That's kind of the podcast. We
Awesome.
kind of did it.
Thanks for
It's
having
your
me.
first podcast, right?
Yeah, first one.
What'd you think?
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah.
What did you think?
It's good, man. There's no standard I have. If we have like a good chat, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And it's just great to talk jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I feel like I learn different things from everybody I talk to, and especially with jiu-jitsu, I learn different things. And that's what I've been doing this week. So I appreciate you letting me
definitely.
stop in and crash a party
Yeah,
here.
definitely. I'm glad you've enjoyed yourself.
Get your guys some experience on a newbie, so that they can start tackling some things. I see it too, you know, like upper belts really like to work really complicated things on me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm messing up enough that you get to like pull off that twister, right?
Yep.
That's fun. That's good for me. So for everybody who is listening, thanks very much. Of course, we have the YouTube now, so you can go watch the video versions of any of these podcasts. And I try to make it like a good setting, so we're in the Genesis gym. You can really join us here. Thanks to Track Farms for the sponsorship and the CBD. I'm talking a lot more about the CBD thing. You into CBD? Is this a thing for you?
More THC.
Oh, okay. Well, you get both, right? When you depends on what you buy, I guess.
Yeah.
But CBD is awesome, so I'm big into it. So thanks to Track Farms for that. You guys have been helping me like actually catch some sleep lately, and thanks to Randy for being on the podcast. I appreciate you being here, for letting me crash the gym this week, and thanks to all the folks at Genesis, because it's been a lot of fun getting to kind of crash the party and see how you guys do things and get some rolls in. And as always, people, we will see you on the next episode.